What is good? Welcome in, welcome in. Oh my goodness. How are you guys doing this evening? I hope all is well. I'm bringing you a just a horrible story that is headlining out of Morocco. The deviancy is taking over, my people, my peeps. This is not the first time I've spoken out about being SA'd or that crime is such a heinous crime. So we're hearing that a 13-year-old boy out of Morocco was SA'd by 14 men. Yeah, that's right. Man, if I could tell you over and over and over again that we are definitely living in the last days, which a shift is going to come, and people are definitely going to have to pay for their crimes and the things that they are doing. Although they think that they're getting away with such heinous crimes, and I mean this right here is sickening to say the least. I mean, I really can't gather the words for such a crime. The reports are saying that this 13-year-old boy who was going, he goes by the nickname WB, had went to a carnival in Morocco with his mother. Now, what makes it sad, even more disgusting and sad, is that his mother had lost her husband not too long ago, his father, and was suffering from some mental health issues. So she wasn't in the best state of mind. However, this young man went to a carnival in Morocco, a festival that they have there, and some of the people who took just grave advantage of this young man. 14 men SAing this young man. Some of them knew him, set up like no other. So from what the reports are saying, that he was SA'd several times by these men, and that they drugged him and continued to SA him. Um, but I have some video of people talking about it. I went and I got the word on the street from some people that have mentioned it, and I thought I'd bring this to you because SA is a serious offense. I mean, SA to grape someone equals to murder. Okay, uh, and I've told you guys that before, and I wanna bring out some a scripture in the Bible, because I know a lot of people don't believe that SA is equal to murder. I mean, the Most High has said when you grape someone, you're murdering their soul. But for the grapist, oh, you will pay for those sins. You will die. That's what it says in the Bible. And some people think, well, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. Um, it didn't say when you would die. Just like when Adam and Eve, when bit of the fruit, it said you will surely die, right? But they didn't. The Most High didn't say when they will die. He said you will surely die, and I believe in my heart of hearts that death for the rapist is not the first death. Okay, not the first death, because it's two deaths, y'all. Okay, if you didn't know, it's going to be that eternal death for these rapists. You know. Um, so what I want to do is get you Let me get over here. I'm going to pull up my Bible verse because I want to read it to you all so that you will know raping someone is definitely equal to murder. So let me get that really quick. So if you do have a Bible or your tablet or something you want to follow along, I'm reading out of King James Version, and it says, King James 20. Let me see, what chapter is this? This is chapter. Hold on now. We're going to be going to Deuteronomy chapter 22, and we're going to go down to verse 25, okay? And it says, let me get down here. But if a man finds a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man forces her and lies with her, that then the man only that lie with her shall die. So this is a betrothed woman. It's somebody who's promised to someone else, right? And we have to look at this as when you are born, you have women that are virgins, men who have never had sex before. They're promised to someone else. They're not promised to the person who takes it upon themselves to lay hands on them and take them forcibly, or even within this drugging and graping culture that we have. I think that people think that they can get away with drugging and raping someone because they think that their body, they won't know what has happened. But their body is going to know that trauma has taken a hold or something has happened, right? So when we're looking at Deuteronomy, you have to understand that you're promised to someone. Okay, although you might not know who your potential spouse may be, husband may be, your promise is someone. God put you here for someone to go forth and multiply, right? So it is not looked upon like, oh, it was a boy, like it's a manly thing, like it's okay. No, you just murdered this boy's soul. And for 14 men to do this to a young man, he's going to be dealing with a lot of psychiatric problems. He's going to have PTSD, and we're going to listen to a little bit about great PTSD, okay? Let me finish. We're reading out of, I'm reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 25 to 26. I'm going down to 26. But unto the damsel thou shalt, let me see, hold on. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is no sin. Y'all know I got to get these right. Okay. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as with the man, for as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. So, like I was saying, rape or grape equals murder of the soul, right? So, with the Most High saying, even if a man, put hands on another man, on his neighbor, and he slays his neighbor, so is the same matter. If he slayed his neighbor, that means take his neighbor out. It's the same matter, murder. So rape, I want you to understand, is equal to murder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, bring up this video. I'm going to try to turn it down because I believe it has some music to it. And just bring it up for you guys. Let me see if I can turn it down. So this is the young boy in question. Okay, so I wanted to get that music out of there. Um, this is horrible. This is horrible. I mean, really, when the Most High is going to come back and destroy, baby, it's going to be something terrible. To even know that he even knew some of his assailants is really horrible. So right now they're trying to find some of the people out of these 14 men. They're trying to find all of them. Hopefully that they can find all of these men that has, murdered this young boy. So this has taken place in Morocco. So let me go and pull up some other people. We're going to just listen to what they have to say about this heinous incident that has taken place in Morocco. This 13-year-old boy. Literally 13 years, and they took one more than the life that he's lived here because 14 grown men
Power on. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
rape this boy. So it's horrible. So let me get this pulled up for you guys.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
All right. Speaker up for you.
A few days ago, I made a video on how 14 men in Morocco S8 a 13-year-old boy. What are some of the comments that I saw the most? Oh, what do you expect of Moroccans? What do you expect of Arabs? What do you expect of brown men, Middle Eastern men, men in North Africa? They're all like this. They're predators. It's their religion, their culture, their looks. Funnily enough, when I made a video about a French surgeon had, committed similar crimes to over 200 of his patients, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of Frenchmen? Just look at the Giselle Pellicot case. They're all predators. It's in their blood. It's in their culture. When I made a video on a group of, a few British guys that had groomed an S8 a 15-year-old, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of British men? They're all predators. They're all violent. They don't respect women. They're either incels or misogynists. It's their culture. It's their behavior. When I made a video about an Indian man, taking the life of his daughter simply because his pride was wounded, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of brown men, of Indian men? It's their religion, it's their culture, it's their history. They don't respect women, they hate women. When I made a video about a Japanese case, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of Japanese men? You know how much stalking goes on there. Same way with Korea, by the way. They're all incels. It's the way that they're...
So this woman is saying basically what is going on? Is the whole world just going to excuse these men's behavior? Because it's like, what do you expect? They're men. No, I'm telling you, this is not acceptable at all. But I do know what time we're in. And I do know that just like in Sodom and Gomorrah, where the Most High destroyed those two cities, um, because they started raping men in the streets. That's right. And when I heard this story, it just brought me to that actual scripture in the Bible where men are raping men in the streets. I mean, this little boy went to a festival. His mom took him to a festival and no protection from his dad because his dad had passed away. Mom suffering from mental illness. And some of the men that knew him preyed upon him, took advantage of this little boy. And it's really sad that this youngster had to go through this knowing some of his assailants, right? 13 years old and 14 men raped him. This is very sad indeed. So hold on for a minute. I'm gonna run this back. Here we go. This took place in Morocco at a festival. So we could just, although this young boy was drugged and raped by 14 men, he is still going to suffer some form of PTSD, okay? Because his body is traumatized. Some of these men, and even in the United States, it's a huge, great culture, especially with drugging and raping people. They believe that, oh, I'm assuming that the people don't know, so it won't affect them. But they are still murdering the souls, right? The souls of the individuals. And the consequence for murder, biblically, for the rapist that has taken a hold of someone is death.
A 13-year-old boy was ganged by 14 men at a festival. More men essayed this boy than years that he's had on earth. And people still say that men should just be trusted. I'm convinced that if you have a group of men that knows each other and you're in the room with them as the outlier, the likelihood of them doing something bad to you because they know that they all know each other and you're the only one to tell the story, I feel like it's through the roof. I would not feel safe being in an environment where I don't know the men and they all know each other. Even if it was a room full of men who were all strangers, just being in a room full of men feels dangerous. And I'm a grown man, big muscular guy. It still feels dangerous. 14 men and a 13-year-old boy. He had to regain consciousness and then understand what happened to him over the course of the next few days because they kept drugging him and essaying him. When women say that they don't feel safe around men, I don't get offended because I'm not a man that goes out there and hurts women. I actively do the opposite. So if you're getting hurt when I say that women should not trust men, maybe take a look in the fucking mirror. A 13-year-old boy was gang.
The story of Sodom and Gomorrah appears in the book of Genesis amidst the story of Abraham. These cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were known for their wickedness and sin, and God saw the evil deeds of their people and wanted to destroy them. But Abraham, who lived nearby, pleaded with God to spare the cities if there were even just a few righteous people living there. God agreed and sent 2 angels to Sodom to see if there were any good people left. As the angels entered Sodom, they met the nephew of Abraham, Lot, who welcomed them into his home and showed them hospitality. But that night, the wicked men of Sodom surrounded Lot's house and demanded that he bring out the 2 angels, who they saw as strangers, so that they could have intercourse with them. Lot refused and begged the men to leave, but they were relentless. Then the angels struck the men with blindness, and they were unable to find the door. The next morning, the angels urged Lot and his family to flee the city before it was destroyed. As they fled, the angels warned Lot and his family not to look back. But Lot's wife did look back at the city, and she was turned into a pillar of salt. Meanwhile, fire and brimstone rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying the cities and all their inhabitants. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a cautionary tale about the consequences of sin and wickedness, and the importance of righteousness and hospitality. It also highlights the power of prayer and the mercy of God, who is always ready to spare the righteous from destruction. The story is also significant for its portrayal of divine judgment, which is both severe and just. Ultimately, the story underscores the importance of faithfulness in the face of evil and temptation, and the need for God's mercy and grace to overcome the darkness of sin and death. That is the end of this episode. Be sure to follow us for more.
That's right. That's the Bible Brilliance, if you want to follow them on TikTok. Look, this is, I mean, you know, I believe truly that when it was females reporting on grapes and how it just really got out of control, especially with this drugging and grape culture, just totally out of control. I mean, it was, who was it? One of the rappers made a song. What was his name? He was a big guy too. And then a female started making songs about drugging and raping people. But it started within the male culture because they made it seem like it was cool to drug and rape women, right? What was his name? I cannot think of his name right off the top. It made it cool to, make a song about dropping whatever in women's drinks and drugging and raping them, passing them around. Oh, that was cool. But the thing is, your sins, they will come back to haunt you, you know? And they are coming back in a whole different way. Even when we looked at, or if you even heard about the case of P. Diddy, you know, you heard about Cassie and P. Diddy and what happened with her and things like that. And men were like, oh, yeah, she liked it. Oh, yeah, it was okay. She enjoyed it. But then some men really got outraged when they started to hear about all of the men, right, that were taken advantage of, that were great. Then it seemed to be more serious. But I believe it's a little too late. Because, see, they didn't protect the daughters of Zion, right? They looked the other way because they, in their mind, believe that it's sex, it's great, it's pleasurable. What would make someone mad? It's just sex, even though I'm taking it from a person. It means nothing. It means so little when it was women, when this was happening to women. But when that plague, because that's what it is, this plague of lasciviousness spread far and wide, and it has spread far and wide. We are talking about a case all the way in Morocco, where 14 men raped a 13-year-old boy at a festival, somewhere where it's supposed to be fun, memories. But see, when we do not protect the daughters of Zion, or you whore out your lands become corrupt, right? When you don't protect the daughters of Zion, when you believe that they are less than, well, those sins will return. And they are returning. Just like the story you just heard that I played about Sodom and Gomorrah, how that city was so laden with sin that even when the Most High sent angels down to go to visit Lot, the men of the city wanted to grape this man. They were literally banging on Lot's door, trying to break the door down. Walking through the city, there's just lasciviousness everywhere, raping, just sleeping with each other, boys and girls, out like dogs, out in the open like the wild. The city was wicked. It's like, this is not the first time I've heard of so many heinous crimes like this, and it's happening not just to the women, to the men, but it's I believe, this is just me, I'm just telling you, like I believe it is way too late, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, it really is only going to get worse. So what we're going to do really quick before I end this live, I want to listen in on PTSD regarding being raped, because although this young boy was drugged and raped by 14 men, you could see from his demeanor, his body language, that it took effect on his body. So it doesn't matter that, let me pull that back up really quick. It doesn't matter that they drugged him, right? It doesn't matter, because his body still was affected by what took place. His body still was affected by what took place. From what I'm hearing, he's going to have some surgeries. And not just the surgeries that he's got to go through and regain, his health from, but his mental mindset is going to be affected. So let's just hear a little bit about PTSD, rape-related PTSD.
Of course. In today's video, I'm going to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. In particular, the long-term responses that some rape survivors tend to have as a result of their rape experience. As with so many responses to rape, some of these can be counterintuitive. However, once we understand the science behind the rape response, it makes a lot more sense. You've likely heard about PTSD before in relation to war-related trauma. The PTSD response to rape-related trauma is similar, with unique distinctions based on the nature of sexual violence. Rape-related PTSD usually proceeds in a series of stages. Of course, every person is different, and not every survivor will experience these stages in the same way. But over time, people who study the trauma response have found these PTSD stages to be common among rape survivors. As you learn about these stages, I hope that you will better understand some of the common reactions that rape survivors have to what happened to them. The first stage of PTSD, occurring shortly after the rape occurs, is called acute disorganization. In this stage, the survivor is likely to experience things like shock, an inability to concentrate, sleeping and eating changes, fear, helplessness, shame, mood swings, anxiety, and rage. Of course, not every survivor's experience is the same, but they are likely to share many of them. During this stage, a survivor is likely to say something like, "What did I do to deserve this?" If you think about it, the symptoms I've mentioned are tiring to me. It is difficult to continue in a state of shock, helplessness, and anxiety. So what often happens after a while is that the person will enter stage 2, denial. Denial essentially allows the body to take a time out in the recovery process. In the denial stage, the survivor often attempts to block out the experience, to put it in the past, and even to deny that anything happened at all. In this stage, a survivor might say things like, "I don't understand why you keep asking me about this. It was no big deal." The survivor may even say the rape didn't happen. This can be very confusing to the listener, as they may conclude that the survivor made the whole story up. If the survivor is in the denial stage of PTSD, we need to realize that saying, "it was no big deal," may all be part of the trauma response. Denial doesn't necessarily mean the rape didn't occur. After a while, many survivors will emerge from the denial phase, entering stage 3 called long-term reorganization. Entering stage 3 can be caused by seeing the perpetrator, being in a similar situation to when the rape happened, or it just becomes difficult to maintain a state of denial. In this third stage, they're likely to re-experience some of what occurred in stage 1, but they have more strength for it because they essentially took a break from recovery in stage 2. So in this third stage, the survivor may have physical symptoms like eating and sleeping disturbances. They may be easily startled, and they are likely to have nightmares and flashbacks about the rape. They may change a number of things about their life, especially their daily routine. They may stay home more, change their place of work or school, change their friends, and change the amount of contact they have with family. The key thing in stage 3 is change. Someone in stage 3 may say something like, "What happened to me was awful. I need to regain control of my life by changing things around me." If the survivor has good support from family, friends, and a good trauma counselor, they will hopefully enter the final stage, stage 4, which is called the integration and recovery stage. In this final stage, the survivor tends to feel more in control, they're able to trust people again, and they are no longer fearful. An important part of stage
Hopefully, this young man will make it to that stage. He's already lost his father. His mother is dealing with mental health issues prior to this even happening to her son. That took place at a festival in Morocco where this 13-year-old boy was gang raped by 14 grown men. It is sad that this happened. It's really outrageous, to tell you the truth. Um, so before we get out of here, I wanted to bring this to your awareness that we might be past the you know, the stages of trying to protect women, because you didn't protect women. The men, you failed. You failed. You did not protect women. So now the next culprit, the next victims are your sons. The next victims, I tell you, are your sons, because you failed to protect women.
The story of Sodom and
More men essayed this boy than years that he's had on earth. And people still say that men should just be trusted. I'm convinced that if you have a group of men that knows each other and you're in the room with them as the outlier, the likelihood of them doing something bad to you because they know that they all know each other and you're the only one to tell the story, I feel like it's through the roof. I would not feel safe being in an environment where I don't know the men and they all know each other. Even if it was a room full of men who are all strangers, just being in a room full of men feels dangerous. And I'm a grown man, big muscular guy. It still feels dangerous. 14 men and a 13-year-old boy. He had to regain consciousness and then understand what happened to him over the course of the next few days, because they kept drugging him and essaying him. When women say that they don't feel safe around men, I don't get offended, because I'm not a man that goes out there and hurts women. I actively do the opposite. So if you're getting hurt when I say that women should not trust men, maybe take a look in the fucking mirror. A 13-year-old boy was ganged by 14.
Gomorrah appears in the book of Genesis amidst the story of Abraham. These cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were known for their wickedness and sin, and God saw the evil deeds of their people and wanted to destroy them. But Abraham, who lived nearby, pleaded with God to spare the cities if there were even just a few righteous people living there. God agreed and sent 2 angels to Sodom to see if there were any good people left. As the angels entered Sodom, they met the nephew of Abraham, Lot, who welcomed them into his home and showed them hospitality. But that night, the wicked men of Sodom surrounded Lot's house and demanded that he bring out the 2 angels, who they saw as strangers, so that they could have intercourse with them. Lot refused and begged the men to leave, but they were relentless. Then the angels struck the men with blindness, and they were unable to find the door. The next morning, the angels urged Lot and his family to flee the city before it was destroyed. As they fled, the angels warned Lot and his family not to look back. But Lot's wife did look back at the city, and she was turned into a pillar of salt. Meanwhile, fire and brimstone rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying the cities and all their inhabitants. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
This is a very sad case. I wanted to bring it out. This happened in Morocco, where a 13-year-old boy was gang raped by 14 men, drugged and gang raped over and over again. It's very sad. I believe that this is part of what is to come, more and more of what is to come. For the lack of protection of women. You did not protect the daughters of Zion nor the Gentile women. And so these cities, these towns and states will become like Sodom and Gomorrah. They will no longer want the women. They will want the men.
Seen the high SA rate. What are some of the comments that I saw the most? Oh, what do you expect of Moroccans? What do you expect of Arabs? What do you expect of brown men, Middle Eastern men, men in North Africa? They're all like this. They're predators. It's their religion, their culture, their looks. Funnily enough, when I made a video about a French surgeon that had, committed similar crimes to over 200 of his patients, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of Frenchmen? Just look at the Giselle Pellicot case. They're all predators. It's in their blood. It's in their culture. When I made a video on a group of, a few British guys that had groomed an S8 to 15-year-old, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of British men? They're all predators. They're all violent. They don't respect women. They're either incels or misogynists. It's their culture. It's their behavior. When I made a video about an Indian man, taking the life of his daughter simply because his pride was wounded, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of brown men, of Indian men? It's it's their religion, it's their culture, it's their history. They don't respect women, they hate women. When I made a video about a Japanese case, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of Japanese men? You know how much stalking goes on there. Same way with Korea, by the way. They're all incels. It's the way that they're, wired. Have you not seen the high SA rates there? When I made a video about a South African case where a man took the life of a woman that he went on a date with, guess which comments I got? What do you expect of black men, African men? They don't respect women. They see them as property, as just something to own. When I made a video about a pastor in the US targeting the minors of his church, what do you expect of, white men in the US, especially religious white men? They're all cultists. It's in their culture, it's in their religion. When I made a video about a case in Afghanistan, what do you expect of African men? They all hate women. It's in their culture, it's in their religion. No matter where the perpetrator is from, what they look like, what their religion is, these comments will always appear. It will always be about, skin color. It will always be about nationality, ethnicity, cultural background, about religion. What it will never be about is male violence. That in most countries, half of the population is socialized to be violent. That does not equate to half of the population being violent. But that is the socialization that is happening under patriarchal systems. Religion, culture, and history definitely influence it and can make it more severe. But that socialization is globally present no matter which country you go into. The one thing all of these perpetrators have in common is that they're men. But because so many people are just super uncomfy with, actually addressing male violence, we like to push it onto other things. And, to a certain extent, I get it. If you believe.
And by pushing it onto other things, not addressing it, taking it lightly, because when women were getting raped, when this drugging and raping culture took effect, nobody did anything because it was women. But now it's going to be your sons. They're going to be raping your sons at a festival. This took place in Morocco, where a 13-year-old boy, where his mentally ill mom had took him to a festival to have fun. Lost his dad. Dad had died. Knew some of his perpetrators. And they took advantage of the unstable home that he was in. They took advantage of his childhood, being at somewhere fun, a festival where children should go and play and be children. Instead, they were predators. When you don't protect your land, and when I say land, I do mean the daughters of Zion and the Gentile women. When you turn a blind eye and you let this type of lasciviousness grow, well, this is what you have. And this is what shall become of many nations. Many nations. Sin is going to grow so dark and so deep in this world that you'll be begging for the Most High Yah to return. You'll be on your knees because it won't look so cool. It won't be so great to be talking about how your son got gang raped, right? By 14 grown men. It won't be so cool to be talking to your boys sitting around the garage or out back by the pool table, wherever y'all at, in the man cave, talking about, how your children got gang raped, murdered. Because that is what rape is. It is murdering of the soul. Right? That's what it says in the Bible. It is murdering of the soul. This young man had got gang raped. But it is death to those men. Even if all of them are not caught, they have written their own sentence. It is death to them. Out of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verses 25 through 26. But if a man finds a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man forces her and lie with her, then the man only that lie with her shall die. You see, you're all betrothed. You're already promised to someone. right? The Most High already knows who your mate is. So this takes effect, betrothed men, betrothed women. We all are to be with someone who God, the Most High, has betrothed us to. But when someone lays their hands on you, not willingly, you didn't go willingly. They took you. When they laid their hands on you, that's what it means. They took you. They drugged you. That's taking you. They took you without your consent. Only that man shall die. So you ladies or men who have been victimized out here, I know you are dealing with great PTSD and that your soul has been murdered. But know this, the Most High said, you're not going to die. You're not the one that's dead. It is the man who has died. Let's go to 26. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. The Most High says, even this is like a man going and killing, slaying his neighbor. You killed your neighbor, you murdered your neighbor. So is the matter of rape. And he's taking it seriously. You will die. The lands have been defiled. The daughters of Zion were not protected. And by not protecting the daughters of Zion, the lands have been defiled. This young man was gang raped in Morocco, 13 years old. They took every bit of his life. For it was 14 men took their turn drugging this man and raping this young boy, because he wasn't a man, a young boy, 13 years old. They not only took every year of his being in this realm, they even went overboard with it. But it is said that the sin will overflow. The sin has to overflow. And these people that think they get away with such heinous murders, because rape, we just went over it, ladies and gentlemen, is equal to murder. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 26. Slaying your hands on your neighbor and taking your neighbor's life. That is what rape is. I wanted to bring you on this story because it's just a tragedy what has taken place. But be aware. This is only going to get worse and worse.